So just started, yeah. So yeah, this is the last class, right? So we have a guest, and since there's only one person attending, it will be like a one-to-one conversation with him anyway. So Param has been attending all the classes very, very enthusiastically. And there was two more people who were supposed to, yes, they came for last three classes, and it kind of dropped off from 9 to 5 to 3 to 1. But and nevertheless, all these are recorded. So in any case, if someone wants to look at it in the future, it will be there. So, P. Ramana, it's all yours. You are on mute, Sri Ramana. You have to unmute yourself. You're still muted. You are muted again. You're muted.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all yours now.
Pustaka Japavata Haste, Varadabhaja Chinha Charu Bahulate, Karpuramala Dehe, Vagishwari Shodhayashu Mamacheta, Varnatano, Amrita Varne, Niyata Manirvarnitepi Yogindrehi, Niraniti Karana Dure, Varnayatun Devi Dehi Samartham. So, I think this is the second round of Grantha Lipi classes by our good friend Sri Vinod Rajan. And so, as always, in undertakings like this, where pure interest is probably the only reason for somebody to participate, and especially in subjects that are receiving, sorry to say, less and less attention as time goes by, but a situation which we hope to fix, through all these classes. So the study of Grantha Lipi, it is interesting from various points of view. So one being that, of course, for people who are in Tamil Nadu or Tamil people who want to study, to read the old manuscripts or inscriptions and all that, as well as the vast corpus of mostly religious literature, which is available in Grantha Lipi. Of course, the learning of Grantha is a must, and our friend Sri Vinod Rajan, probably he put up the first online Grantha course in the sense of on his website many years ago. So my association with Dr. Vinod Rajan has always been, I mean, it got started, initiated through this common interest in scripts only. So, and especially in the case of Grantha, and recently in the case of Sharada Lipi also, Dr. Vinod Rajan has been very enthusiastic and very instrumental in the prachara of these scripts. And recently, especially regarding Sharada, sometimes a few years back, I was thinking that Sharada has less prachara than Grantha Lipi, but right now I am starting to suspect that the situation has changed. So, because of our friends at the core Sharada team, and with the use of the Satisar font, which Dr. Vinod and with the glyphs of the core Sharada team he developed, and the other tools also. And the core Sharada team is doing a great job in spreading the users of Sharada script. So sometimes I wonder if it would be good if we have some Grantha Lipi Sabha. Okay, I think Vinod.
Let me stop there. The Grantha Lipi Prachar Sabha is like
okay.
It's
so
an internal joke.
Something to some organized setup for the prachara of Grantha Lipi. So probably that is where they are. The core Sharada team is winning out on in the case of the Prachara of Sharada Lipi. So actually, recently a document which we released in multiple scripts, including Sharada Lipi. Actually, the total number of people who, I don't know, maybe it was because the link didn't get forwarded so much, but at least about 45 people downloaded the document, Shiva Sahasranama, in multiple scripts, including Grantha, and recently we added Sharada Lipi also. So basically, regarding the situation in Tamil Nadu, we right now, because of the dwindling, because of various reasons, because of the lack of mainly printing support of the Grantha script, and later on, even after the advent of the computer-based DTP and all that, even then it took quite some time for Grantha to get a proper font and even a non-Unicode font. And non-Unicode fonts were also very, what shall I say, not very well known. And later on, we crossed lots of steps to get Grantha encoded in Unicode. And right now, we can be happy that at least on the most recent devices, at least on Android devices, Grantha text, we're able to input Grantha text in chats. But of course, you have to have an input method for that. Right now, I don't think Gboard or any other Android built-in, I don't know. I'm not sure whether any of the built-in keyboards provide Grantha right now. But of course, if you have access to a computer and through a computer, you can always input Grantha. And I also don't know, I think Dr. Vinod would be in a better position to say what is the current status of the operating system support for Grantha. Because in the end, if we are to practice what we learn here, to actually start typing documents in Grantha, we need those input methods, right? So, Dr. Vinod, what is exactly does Windows and or Macintosh and all these OSs, do they support
No,
Grantha right now?
Macintosh already comes with the Grantha font already. It's a very big. It was done by Muthinedamaran.
Okay.
So Grantha
Input
is
method?
quite PT. I think he has it as well.
Okay.
I don't have a Macintosh, but it comes with a beautiful font that only works on Mac OS, of course.
Okay.
But I do have a Keyman keyboard for Grantha.
Oh yeah, okay. So that should help cross-platform support, right? So anyway, so what so the thing is that the documents and I am associated with the Sri Kanchika Mogotipeetham, and that we have been publishing at least since the last 2 or 3 years. Ever now and then, when we have special occasions coming up, we have been publishing documents in multiple scripts. With the help of automated script conversion, I edit the documents in Devanagari with the help of other friends, including Srimati Vidya Jayaraman, who is organizing this program. So we automatically convert it to Grantha. And so basically, recently we also had an issue with the usage of Tamil script with the what shall I say, ad hoc diacritics 234. So basically, when such a system is used, but people really don't pay much attention to those diacritics, so they end up pronouncing it the Tamil way. So either reading it or pronouncing it both. When the script is not really, it wasn't designed for that. It was designed for writing Tamil, and it is good at writing Tamil. But for Tamil, for Sanskrit, we right now, because of this, the what shall I say, the paucity of the resources. But right now, I mean, I'm talking about the last 2 decades before we got Noto Grantha fonts, and before we got these input methods and all that. We did have a difficulty in inputting Grantha. So right now, slowly that situation gets improved. But I do hope that I do feel that we really need to do more prachara of Grantha. Some people, there must be some, as I said, Grantha Lipi Sabha or a core Grantha team or whatever, that needs to take this up as a mission to make people more aware of the script, and so that especially when they visit temples in Tamil Nadu and all that, so they are able to read. That is one, what shall I say, a real-time utility of learning the script. For all other Sanskrit-related purposes, you have Devanagari, so why bother yourself with Grantha is probably a big difficulty in people, but there are still some people who, make it a point to, no, give me Grantha. I can't read Devanagari. There are still some people who do tell me that. So anyway, so my request to all the participants here would be to, make it a point. So whenever, even in my daily stotra parayanas and all that, I try to include I try to use the Grantha versions of the text, because most of the text I edit and I create PDFs for myself for my own daily use. So I am always in a position to convert it to whatever script that I feel, which I feel like using. So once we start making it a point to start using regular Grantha in our regular usage, then we can hope for doing prachara of the script to others. And of course, regarding the situation of Tamil diacritics and Grantha, so there is, Dr. Vinod and I, and we sort of collaborated, because to revive, actually we didn't invent it, the mixed usage of the Tamil and Grantha consonants or symbols, which was there almost 100 years back. In the sense, I'm not talking about Maniprabhadam. I'm talking about Grantha consonants being imported into the structure of Tamil scripts. I hope, Vinodji, do you have any? I can pull up a document.
Maybe you can pull up a document. Yeah, that should be better.
I have Vishnu Sahasranama in this one in Granthamil. Okay, because I really recently sent it to somebody for them to actually practice Granthamil, right? So that is something that is an interim solution to people who are sort of not ready to jump into the whole repertoire of Grantha, including the Grantha structure of conjunct consonants and all that. So for such people, I guess Granthamil, which we evolved, is a good interim solution. And so, Vinodji, I hope right now I'm sort of having.
No, can you share your screen? I think you should. Can you share the screen?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. No. So okay, here it is. I can log into the same Zoom from two different locations, right? It's not a problem.
Yeah, you should be able to do that. Yeah.
I'll mute it so that the audio is not a problem.
I have to let you in.
I'm in. Okay, I'm sharing my screen here. So this is it. So basically, this is for anybody who knows Tamil. This should be a very easy step in. The hesitation to read it would be far less when it is presented this way rather than in full Grantha. Of course, full Grantha has its own beauty and its own usage. But the thing is, this is what we sort of found was a good stepping stone to the usage of full Grantha. So basically, as you can see, the entire structure is that of Tamil. The use of the pulli and the lack of most of the conjunct consonants in the sense of the consonant cluster, the ligature and other such stacking forms. So we imported, not we, sorry, we didn't do that actually. The people who printed such texts 100 years ago, so they imported the additional consonants from Grantha, only when the consonant, the equivalent did not exist in Tamil already. So you can see that Vishnu is already that sh is okay. Sh is common, sa is common, ha is common to Grantha and Tamil. And Namastotram, the first line is absolutely normal Tamil, right? We are used to it. And Shuklamba, so this is where you come across the first Grantha consonant. So once you read this, especially if you already know the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, if you read this, you will start learning the Grantha consonants quite quickly. In fact, that is how I learned Grantha, not using Granthamar, of course, but I started reading a Vedic passage, which I was already very conversant with, which I had already memorized. I took up the Grantha book and I started reading it just like that, because I'm talking about full Grantha. I'm not talking about this Tamil Grantha combination. So once I got in, because a lot of symbols were similar to Tamil, I just had a key, that old Samskrita primer, Grantha Balapathamala, which we are able to get at Chennai, Mylapore. So I had that in hand only for doubts. I used to consult that. But I got the hang of Grantha pretty much quickly. And probably a lot of, just imagine the situation of the Veda Pathshala students. They are not necessarily taught Grantha formally, in the sense of Dr. Vinod teaching you people here. In the sense of, see, these are the consonants, these are the swaras, and so on and so forth. They are just given the book and they are taught the passages, so they learn to correlate. Just like we learn any other script normally, without learning it, of course, for Tamil and English and all the scripts that we are taught at school, we are given a formal introduction, fine. But when you start going living in Delhi and you start learning Devanagari, how do you learn it? You learn it just by correlating the sound and the written form, right? So likewise, that is how Pathshala students learn Grantha. So that's total immersion. So anyway, what I was saying was, because I was already conversant with the Vedic passage, and I knew 50% of the Grantha script because of the similarity with Tamil, I was able to learn Grantha pretty much quickly, and that's how I learned Grantha. So, and now thanks to this Tamil Grantha, and thanks to the technology, the noto fonts of Tamil and noto fonts of Grantha, which we are able to use to assemble and no, by Pathshala, I'm referring to normal, the regular full-time Veda Pathshalas, which are here all over in Tamil Nadu and other places also, right? So in those Pathshalas, people learn the Vedas, right? The children learn the Vedas, they learn Grantha also. A few of them use Devanagari. Some of the Vedic books, I don't think the Rig Veda is yet printed in Grantha, surprisingly. Mostly the Yajurveda is mostly learned using Grantha, and only recently some people have been using Devanagari books for learning Krishna Yajurveda. And Samaveda has both books, Grantha and Devanagari also. So anyway, so I'm talking about those Veda Pathshala students who are learning Veda using Grantha, right? So they learn it through immersion, total immersion, not through formal instruction, right? And so similarly, back to the what I'm presenting here. So this Tamil Grantha script, so I mean, Tamil Grantha means Tamil mixed with Grantha. I'm using the word in that sense. So this script is a good stepping stone, and we sort of formalized it. It was already there 100 years back. We formalized it. We sort of streamlined a few of the glyphs so that to avoid too much similarity to existing Tamil letters. For example, you can see on the second line, you have Prasanna Vadanam, and that da is very slightly modified from the existing Grantha da because of the excessive similarity to U and Dhya. So as you can see, if we had written the full Grantha da there, it would be very similar to Ya, which is immediately following. And people are having difficulty in differentiating the two because they are not used to it. So, so that's good in the sense that you have a good solution to the problem of learning an entirely new script. So there's a step towards that. Prasanna Vadanam Dhayet. So the only two new letters you have here are the and the. Sarva Vigno Ghakara. So that is the only new letter there. So on the first line, you probably have ba and bha, and the anuswara too, if you want to count that. On the second line, you just have 2 or 3 letters out of a total of probably 16 syllables and maybe 20 letters. And Narayanam Namaskritya, you have r, right? Naran Chaiva Narottamam. So that is entirely in normal Tamil. So you are able to write Sanskritam pretty much accurately without the usage of 2, 3, 4 and all those diacritics, right? So this is a good. It's a good. It ensures the visual distinction, which is necessary for the accurate representation of the distinction in the sounds. It's not necessary in the sense that it's useful and it's a very strong indication that you need to pronounce this differently rather than just writing tha 2, tha 3 and so on. If you get mixed up that 2 and 3 and all that, it's difficult, right? So anyway, so we have all these technological advancements and these what shall I say, tools right now that help us do more and more, use Grantha more and more. As I told you already, we already have Grantha on Android. I don't believe even Sharda is there on Android, but there is for Sharda they have a magazine called Matrika, where they have on the left side Devanagari, on the right side Sharda, or the other way around maybe, parallel Devanagari and Sharda content. So likewise, these are just, I'm just sharing a few ideas that we can use, we can try to implement for, maybe we can have a monthly, just a few 4-page Grantha Prachara newsletter or something like that, or a bi-monthly one. I think Matrika is bi-monthly. So I hope these instructions, these sessions, and I hope Dr. Vinodji will be in the future also, he'll be conducting these classes. And I do hope especially that more people do come and learn and do consistently stay. It's just, I think it's just a week once or a week twice. It's not really too much of our time, and especially for people who are already conversant with Tamil script, it's quite easy. So the Grantha is a part of our Bharatiya heritage and especially Tamil heritage. So it's probably and the Grantha, of course, once you learn Grantha, you can extrapolate it in various ways to Malayalam, to even Tigalari, and even still further extension to the Southeast Asian scripts also. You can find similarities between the Southeast Asian scripts, which are descended from 5th century predecessor of today's Grantha, right? So I just wanted to share a few thoughts. I wanted to, maybe a few words of encouragement and a few requests of people who are learning Grantha. So again, thank Dr. Vinod Rajan as well as Srimati Vidya Jayaraman for the opportunity to, talk with you people who are enthusiastic about Grantha. Thank you. So there was one question which I still have not answered on the chat. Okay. A similar hybrid stepping stone for Devanagari. Devanagari to Grantha, you mean? I doubt it because I don't think, because they are two totally disparate scripts, right? Because the Devanagari is descended from northern Brahmi and this one Grantha from southern Brahmi. So probably Devanagari Grantha mix would look like Telugu Tamil mix, which I do believe Dr. Vinod is also dabbled in.
I mean, we could do that. Like the problem is, like, I don't know. Let me share my screen.
Well, we can do something like Matrika, where we have on the Devanagari on one side and Grantha on the other side, parallel type setting.
We could actually create a font glyphs that look half Devanagari, half Grantha.
Oh my God, that's yet another script for people to learn. I don't know. Okay, let's consider it. What is that?
I mean, that's not doable. I think somebody did that for Sinhala and Tamil, because Sinhala and Tamil, right?
Achha.
They both go back to Pallava Grantha anyway. Somebody took that concept, saying, like, you know what, since both Sinhala and Tamil have the same skeleton, in terms to encourage unity between the two ethnic groups, they had a Sinhala Tamil font that could be read as Sinhala and as Tamil at the same time.
Okay.
But you have to squint your eyes to get it. But that was a good idea, though.
Okay. Okay,
But
thank you very
Tamil
much.
and Sinhala are like pretty much same. I mean, like very similar. It's
Yeah,
like
okay,
they're
yeah,
both
because
Grantha
they're
derived
again,
spells.
they're still geographically just separated by what, 45 kilometers of sea, 40 kilometers,
Yeah,
whatever.
and
But Devanagari and Grantha are like 1,500 kilometers apart, really. Even though Devanagari is, even in the olden days, it made inroads into South India. But anyway, okay, let's consider it. Thank you. So, but the
fair enough.
parallel typesetting would really be useful for people who are learning two scripts. When you have Devanagari on the left side and Grantha on the right side, but of course, each script, the Grantha is sort of heavy on the horizontal bit usage. When you have a kombu and a kal for writing O, which is something that Devanagari is very efficient at. It just writes a single stroke on the right and a single stroke on the top. The single stroke on the top has descended to the left to occupy excessive horizontal space. So we do have some challenges. Anyway, but we need to get together like this to identify such issues and hopefully try to address them. Anyway, thank you. I'm sorry to have taken so much of our time. I do believe Vinodji has still some topics he wants to cover before he
I think we're
completes
just going
this.
to revise it. I think we are done.
Okay.
Yes, thanks
you.
again.
Thank you. Namaste.
No worries. Right. So the Shashkiramana, he's been one of the forefronters of like encoding Grantha in Unicode. If you're seeing Grantha in your Android mobile phones, it's not even partly, it's wholly thanks to him. Right. He had to like jump lots of hurdles and everything to get Grantha encoded into the Unicode. But yeah, a good idea would be like do something like more workshop, even if 3 people attend, right? It doesn't matter as long as they're interested and they learn something, and that's fine with me. That's fine with everyone else. And so one of the reasons for how you could practice Grantha is to like take a text and practice it. I think. Let me share my screen. So as you have noticed, Sanskrit documents like has like lots of like already in Grantha. Let's change it to Devanagari. Right, you can take any text that you like. Right. Right. So if there are any text that you know by heart, take that, find that in Sanskrit documents, and you can basically change the script to Grantha. That's something, it's quite easy. It's just single click. And since you have the text already in your head, you can basically correlate like what you know with what you see. And to be honest, that's how I learned Grantha. I learned Grantha by starting to build a font when I was like 17, in 2004, 2005, without even knowing Grantha. So I just learned Grantha ad hoc. I didn't go through any like formal way of learning Grantha. And it's not just with script, with anything. If you just want to learn something, just don't bother learning. Just start doing it. You will eventually learn it. Whether it be programming language or like whatever it is, right? Going through a formal education will only help so much. Now, I said you could also change it to the hybrid Tamil Grantha, which I call it Tamil Extended and Aksharamukha. Right. So you can only see like if the the Anuswara. And again, it's slightly better to get used to the basic consonants, because you only have to learn the extra consonants, and other things are like this Tamil. So you'll get, so this thing, Krit, Pundarika, Madhyastham, Shankha, Chakra Gadadharam, one who holds Shankha, Chakra, and the Gadha. So yeah, you kind of like start doing this and start of getting used to this. Once you read this properly, you can basically upgrade yourself to like a proper Grantha. One other thing you could do to practice would be, so the biscriptural typesetting, that's quite nice. For instance, you can take this from here. Again, go to Aksharamukha, go to multiscript, right? And select the script here, right? And say you want it in more than one script. Say you want it in Devanagari. Yeah. Let me do something. Right. So you can have the same text in like Grantha. I don't have Grantha here to work. Yeah. Here in Grantha, Devanagari, and extended Tamil. You can basically sort of like learn. Did I get a message? Oh yeah, I forgot about home. I can cover home now. So yeah. So this something is really useful. You can take any stotra, any text that you like, typeset in like multiple languages, and you want to tell it like how to split it. I usually split by the new line, split it by like the viramas basically, and you can basically download it as HTML, and you can start like practicing reading it. That would be a really good option, and everything has already been programmed. It's nice. And it's easy to pick up the language that way. And in a way, that's how I learn like different scripts. I take the same text, render it in like, say, I want it in Balinese, right? And I want it in Javanese. I can basically like correlate what's there and the text about I know. For instance, like the Balinese A is same as Grantha A. It's just a bit stylish. It sits on the left. It goes down from up to bottom to up and down. But it's pretty much very similar. So you can get all these similarities. Just take the script that you know and typeset it. Let me download. You can also download it as well. Yeah. So you can just render everything in multiple scripts and start like reading and practicing. Give me a minute.
I have a question.
Yeah, you have a question.
Yes. So when we are talking about Tamil to Devanagari transliteration, lots of sounds may be lost and lots of differences need to be taken care of. That's less relevant in the case of Grantha to Devanagari. But I was wondering, while using this tool, should we be careful about certain transliterations?
What do you mean? Just give me, say it again.
So, for example, we previously talked about retroflex l, and that might not be correctly transliterated if we are using this tool.
Yes, it should be.
If I can copy some Sanskrit text that uses the regular law in Devanagari instead of
No, but that's a convention. Right? It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a textual convention, right? It's just you're trying to convert North Indian Sanskrit to South Indian Sanskrit. That we can't do. It's like converting between two different dialects of like the same language, right? Anyway, it's a different dialect. Well, I'm using the word dialect in a very, very strong sense, but if you know what I mean, it's a different variant, right? And it's still right. It's not wrong. It's just not the convention how Sanskrit would be written in like these days, at least 100 years ago. But everybody these days is learning like Sanskrit from Samskrita Bharati, which have very homogenized, simplified Sanskrit, which I personally don't agree with. They have very diluted version of Sanskrit, which like, do you want to know what like I don't know, a torch is called in Sanskrit, or what is a computer in Sanskrit? Do you need it? Maybe not, right? Like, can I take like a tradition of Buddha Charita, right? And I can start reading it, or can I take like Shakuntala, right? And can I read it, right? And that's what I personally want, right? I won't take any Sanskrit text and read it, but anyway, that's something traditionally was done in Tamil Nadu. But unless you're like a traditional Sanskrit scholar who reads traditional Sanskrit text, you would notice in the small minor differences, right? For instance, in Sanskrit, you are not supposed to use like Anuswara for everything. Anta, it's ka, na, anta. But North Indians often just use Anuswara because it's easier, right? But those are just conventions. It doesn't change the text per se, right? Yeah. So that's something you guys could do to start like taking a text, typeset it in multiple languages, and then we can start reading it. I don't know how religious you guys are, but it's something you guys could do. Or any text you like. It doesn't have to be religious text, like anything in Sanskrit, not even Sanskrit. I don't know. Let's take Hindi text. Let's render that in Grantha. Right. Let's take that. I want to split using the Virama. Let's do that. And let's, I need to remove the Shva. There you go, that's better. And I didn't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Let me download HTML, so it's easier for me to show you. Yeah, so, of course, the Devanagari has the Ra thing with the Shva because it has to be. So yeah, you can basically take like even a Hindi text, right? And try to render this in Grantha and try to learn it. It doesn't matter. It's like people who learn a language but just by reading subtitles. It's similar to that. Let me stop sharing the screen here. So let's summarize what we have learned, and maybe I can maybe I can like cover what I have forgotten to teach out. So let's go to the vowels. So you have a, e, u, U, R, R, L, L, A, I, O, Ow, Ah. Right? Everybody knows that, and that's the easy part. Let's go to the consonants. You have K, K, and K, G, K, N, Ch, Ch, J, J, Ñ, T, T, D, D, N, T, T, D, D, N, P, B, B, M, Y, R, L, B, Sh, Sh, S, T, and you have L. Right? That's easy. Just to reiterate things that look similar, you have A, K, Anya, right? You have the loop here, it's here, and you get this here, and you have U, the, and O, right? Similarly, you have V, P, H. Similarly, you have Y, the, H, right? One way you could do is like for year, for the I usually go some below the line to make it simpler. Similarly for the, but usually this thing is bigger and it's curved compared to year. Same with K. You can write it below the line to make it unambiguous, but in print sometimes it's just written big. The head, yeah, the head is big compared to normal V. That's there. Now for the matras, the easiest part, if you know Tamil, you have K, Ka, Ki, Ki, Ku, Ku, Kr, Kr, Kl, Kl, Ke, Kai, Ko, Kau, O, Kau, Kam, Kaha. Right? One thing to notice, like unlike Tamil, this K, this Ko, these are long. And then I think I told you why, but traditionally, these are the long vowels in Tamil, and you had to put a dot to make it short. But eventually, Tamil script was reformed, where this became short, and they created a new sign to write the long vowel. But Grantha being the traditional script, it didn't bother to imitate the Tamil script reform. So that's where it's pretty much diverged. Oh, and you have ik. Right. So instead of like putting a dot, you put sort of like a 3 on top. Sometimes you get this as well. That's also right. I prefer to put it on the top. Some publications you put on the left, right? And the n and m have special forms, so you don't write it, but you have a cursive form for that. And you don't write in, but you have a cursive form for that. Same way, you don't write im, but you have a cursive form for that. And why do the, n, and m have like special cursive forms? It used to be the case like previously Grantha had the halant like this. So when you want to write without lifting it, right, you just have to curve it over to write the thing on top. It used to be like this. Yeah. So yeah, it used to be this. If you want to write it without like taking the pen off your palm leaf, you just curve it and try to write it on that. Again, since it in im are the most frequent consonant endings in Sanskrit, the cursive forms for these letters are sort of like retained, and for other forms, the virama got like evolved into like more ornate tree-like form. And apart from that, so right, if you want to write Bhagavat, you have to write and it, right? So just remember that it, in, and im are special forms, and you shouldn't write this. That would be wrong. Then apart from that, we have the om, important thing. So traditionally, Devanagari has like a very special form of om, right? It's basically a ligature of like old O and Chandrabindu. And basically many scripts don't have that. They just write O, either the im or O, or O with the anuswara, like, right? But because Om is like a very special bija, people would like to invent like ligatures, to show that it's special. For instance, Oriya, it's Om, but in some cases you see it like this in some publications to make it look special. But it's basically O plus Chandrabindu. Same way with Tamil, usually it's O and M. Sometimes people write it inside or in one stroke like this, right? And Grantha has that. In most publications like post 1900, you see Om as either like this or this. But if you go back, Grantha didn't have a special form of Om. It's basically O, and you write the Ma underneath, Im underneath, that's it. So instead of doing this, you make it into one single glyph, Om. And that's something you can see it in manuscripts. And that's why it was encoded. It's very hard to see that in print. It's a manuscript ligature. But yeah, you can write Om in like one single fancy glyph if you want to. And there's one more symbol, the what's it? The avagraha, right? As you know, in Sanskrit, when two vowels join, when you have sandhi, sometimes vowels disappear, right? And it creates sort of like ambiguity on like how the compound should be split, right? For instance, I used to have a word. All right, let's say a word, take a word, right? Or let's Tamil, right? Let's say Namaha, Astu, right? First, Visarga goes, and U and A. So this becomes O, so it becomes Namo. And because A is lost, we use a special sign called Avagraha, which says like A was originally there, but it just went away. It's basically the Sanskrit equivalent of like using an apostrophe. So you can write cannot or can't. It just shows that these two signs just disappeared, right? Or in French, you have instead of hostel, right? People write this to show that there was an S. It doesn't exist anymore. So in Sanskrit, it's the same thing. Avagraha shows that there used to be an A there, but it's not there anymore. And why is it important to for hospital, right? Why is it etymologically important to show that even though we don't pronounce that? Okay, right. The thing is like some books would say that the avagraha should be pronounced. That's bullshit. That's completely wrong. The avagraha is basically a typographical symbol to show that there was an A there, it's not there anymore. And the A just went away. It's that to show that when you split the word, reconstruct the A. I know, let me why it's important. Let's take the word Athagata, right? Gata, right? This thing is very, very ambiguous. You can split it as like Tata plus Agata or Tatha plus Gata. One who went that way or one who came that way, right? And both the splits are possible. So to say differentiate this from this, you can write Tatha, put two avagrahas. This wouldn't have an avagraha. This shows that there used to be an A, but it's not there anymore, right? So this Z-like symbol is for avagraha. You will also see something like this. Both are same. you can say Namostu. Namostu. Right? It just shows that there used to be an A. It's not in the back. If you want to show that the A is missing, you just write it twice. Right. It's just to make sure that splitting of sandhi is like unambiguous. The difficult part would be the conjuncts. I said, in simplistic terms, you can take any consonant, say pa, right? If you want to write it the, you just write it underneath. So this would be the, right? So you don't like put like three conjuncts together, three consonants together. We just have to put, say sa, pa, la. Right? That would be right. It's as simple as that, right? And sometimes you can also squish not only vertically, but also horizontally. That's done when the first consonant, it's more cursive, so you can cursively join two letters. For instance, you have sh, ancha, you get sh, right? Same way you have the, anva, you have swa. You have the plus the, might left like this, but yeah, you have the, right? Same way. Na plus va gives va, right? Also, so if in many cases, as long as you see the vertical, the horizontal conjuncts, it's easy to get like what are the constituent parts. In many cases, it's easy. For instance, in plus ma gives you ma, right? Again, h plus ma gives ma, right? So you can guess what it is, but there are only like few, like 5 or 6 cases where the horizontal conjuncts, they don't look like anything at all, like the combining two letters on the surface. But if you look at like deeply, you can see like where the components coming from. For instance, in plus the becomes in the, right? This whole thing becomes one stroke in the same way. In plus na gives na, right? You can guess where it comes from. So originally it was like this, but when it becomes cursive, right, people starting like this. You just have to have an eye for like that. Same way, id plus the becomes the. Again, it might look different, but you can see like this top comes from here, the bottom comes from here. Same way, id plus va becomes dva, right? This here and the verse here. Another example would be in plus cha incha, right? And sometimes it's simplified to incha because people can't be bothered to write left for the complete near properly. So yeah, just only quite a handful of like these horizontal ligatures. And I think that is a table. You can check it. Let me share my screen again. Continue, that's fine. They can go to Grantha again. And hey, I think I broke something. What did I break? I'll fix it. I think I broke something by update. So you can go to conjuncts, and you can see all the conjuncts that are like fused. You have ksha, ta, ncha, nya, ija, itha, tva, in the, right? You can see a table. I just have to fix it. I don't know how I broke it. No, I think I pushed an update. I push an update and I put it like middle of the night. I'll fix it. But yeah, this learn Grantha should have like all the like all the special conjuncts listed here, right? The first two things. One thing would be again R and Y. They are special. So this is K and this is Kr. Right? Again, this is K and this is here. Because they're special. Those R and Y take special forms when they join Samyuktaksharas. And same way you have when Ir comes at the beginning, you have to write it after the consonant. That would be Irka, right? This is the only thing that's sort of counterintuitive. So when you want to write the word Sarpa, you have to write Sa and Pa because Pa comes with an R, right? Sarpa. Yeah. That's something that's something that's slightly counterintuitive, right? So it can take like multiple, it can have multiple levels of Samyuktaksharas. For instance, in plus it plus va gives intva, right? In right? And you can have dvandva, right? So you have dva and dvandva. So you basically go in id va becomes in, it becomes down, it becomes va. in some publications, you also will see Indva. That's also correct, right? But the rule goes like you just try to form all the horizontal conjuncts from left to right, and then try going that way. But yeah, the rule is like basically either squish it horizontally or stack it vertically, right? That's the rule. And these things, as you read it, you'll pick it up. For instance, the word three, right? We take sa, sta, stra, three. Three, right? Again, right. Yeah, as simple as that. It just have to go on stacking things, and you can say inkshwa, right? In iksh and va, right? Nga, ksha and va, inkshwa. Okay, let me write it in. There we go. Proper Devanagari. Proper horizontal Devanagari. But no, like there are rarely fonts that support like that kind of like beautiful ligatures. But yeah, most people you will see like this, which is ugly for me. You know, you have this nice ligatures, but many fonts don't support it. But yeah, so it's just like either do it horizontally or vertically, or if it's much more complicated, you mix and match, right? That's with I said R has two special forms. One, if R comes before the consonant, you write it like this, or if it comes after the consonant, you write it like this, right? And yeah, and the viramas are pretty much the same. One, two. In some Vedic text, you would get Chandrabindu. It's pretty much same as Chandrabindu. In some cases, you would see Adya Visarga, for instance. It's actually Duhka. So, or right? This would be Jivamulia. This would be Upadhania. Those are like two sounds that do exist in Sanskrit. But usually people tend to write a visarga for that. Traditionally, you should write actually an Adya Visarga. Dukha, or right? Grantha is the same as well. So you write do and Adya Visarga and Kha. I can't for the life of me remember a word with the Visarga and a Pa. But yeah, anyway, it goes thing and right. So Adya Visarga is something you can see. They're very like meticulous with about like the orthography. You see Adya Visarga. It either stands for Jihamulia before K and K, and stands for Ubadhaniya before P and P. Right, and And that's pretty much it. I think I have covered everything. We have 15 minutes more, and I pretty much summarized everything that we have seen. Um, do you guys have any questions? Anything at all? Let me close my whiteboard.
No, it was pretty much clear. Thank you so
Right.
much. You have really dealt it in detail in the short period. I mean, to learn a new script in 4 weeks is not a joke. So you made it possible. I mean, thanks to you, along with Grantham, my Tamil script has also improved a bit. I'm able to read. Tamil being my mother tongue. Tamil being my mother tongue, I was not able to read it very fluently. But then,
where are you based?
I am in Bangalore.
So you grew up speaking Kannada?
No, I grew up in Hyderabad. I am right now settled in Bangalore.
మీ తెలుగు అప్పుడు
Telugu కాదు నేను తమిళే కానీ because I was born and brought up in Hyderabad. I'm very fluent with Telugu actually. I can read and write Telugu better than Tamil.
It's like me. No, technically, I am Telugu. I mean, my ancestors came from Andhra like hundreds of years ago. So my mother tongue is Telugu, but my Tamil is like much more fluent than my Telugu.
It's a reverse for me, yes.
Like Andhra people don't consider the Telugu of Tamil Nadu people as like proper Telugu at all. That's a different story.
Okay. Okay. My intention to join this class was actually to read some of the shlokas and some of the things left behind by my mom recently passed away about 6 months back, and she has left behind a lot of shlokas and scripts that has been passed down in the family by her dad and ancestors. So I am not able to do much because I need to take it forward. So whatever way, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a very, I mean, I believe in destiny, fate, and whatever you call it. So somewhere she led me into this, and I need to carry it, whatever I was destined to do. So unless I know the script, I don't think I'm able to proceed in this. So that was my main intention, is entering this. So I'm able to do that a bit, but I have a long way to go.
I mean, of course, right? You can always like refer to like textbooks and everything. I think the PowerPoint should have all the resources, right? It's not something you just come to 4 classes, right, and just like magically know everything. It doesn't work that way.
I'm able to at least decode few words, so I'm able to understand what's happening. So I think the credit goes to you. I mean, you have really helped us a lot, and you've done a lot in a short period of time. Four classes is very short for this script.
I know. But do digitize your books and post it online. That's something you could do. That's something I would like heartily recommend, because all these books, they're not going to get published again.
Yeah, right.
Sadly. And all these different editions have different variants, basically, because they come from a different textual source. And it would be good to have them digitized.
Yeah, right.
For what it's worth, the Southern Ramayana, Southern Mahabharata is like much bigger than Northern Mahabharata. Even the Ramayana is like, it's slightly bigger in South. And it's because the text that got cited in Tamil Nadu, at least in Grantha, they have a different textual source. And that's why it's important to like preserve these editions. Of course, there are definition of different epics, right? But these points to one specific branch. And if nobody can read it, that would be a great loss. Because many of these texts don't have like one single source, single universal source anyway. People might want that way, but many of the texts don't work that way. So it's one of things why Grantha, like any other traditional script is important because it tends to preserve those variations and variants. So yeah. What else? That's pretty much it.
I wanted to point out that I'm also in Bengaluru actually.
Oh, okay.
I moved to Bengaluru. I came Bengaluru for 1.5 months last year during my third year of university, and I graduated very recently. So I moved to Bengaluru. I'm originally from Bihar.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice to know that. Where are you put up in Bangalore?
In BTM layout, stage 2.
Okay, okay. And how about
So you speak Bhojpuri?
Not Bhojpuri. I mean, yeah, kind of a little bit. See, how I discovered Vinod for the first time was my mother tongue Bajjika. There are some texts. There are like 1,000 poems in that belong to one particular family, and they're all written in the Kaithi script. And not too many people are able to read it. I was searching through the internet to learn about its presence in the Unicode and how we can write in it and other things like that. And that's how I came across Aksharamukha, and I have been following Vinod for quite a couple of years. And he has been a very big inspiration for me to push forward my language and my script. And I'm a singer-songwriter. I make songs in my native language, and I make sure that I always use Kaithi. And now that it's supported in Unicode, I can even push synchronized lyrics in Kaithi to streaming platforms.
Oh,
that's
wow.
quite nice.
Yeah. And I mean, for being somewhere a South Indian and learning Grantha, I think somewhere it was okay for me. There was some link, some connection. For you coming from a completely different background, I think you are really, I mean, hats off to you.
Thank you. But I actually really enjoyed it. It was more fun than I expected.
Okay.
But I did tend to go on tangents on issues. I should probably stick to like the course. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for coming. You guys are the two people who attend like pretty much every class. Again, my heartful congratulations and thanks for that.
I think we need. But where are you, Vinod? Where are you put up?
I'm in Berlin now.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I moved to Germany like 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I moved to Berlin like a year ago, pretty much.
Okay, okay.
If you ever happen to be in India, definitely let us know. We'll be happy to meet you.
Yeah, that's possible. I haven't been to India in like 10 years. I could come down.
Wow, okay.
I should visit